organizational regular board meeting for the Board of Education, January 22nd. If you'd all rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Should we please have roll call?
Berber Garcia. Here. Randall.
Here.
Isich. Here. Nichols. Here. Sadoo.
Here.
White.
Here, thank you. Mr. Morris Tim is stuck traveling with the weather everywhere, and so he apologizes that he is not able to make it back for this meeting. We wish him safe travels, and hopefully he still gets back in tonight, so not good. At this point in time, just as a reminder to everybody, if you are here for public comment, we do ask that you fill in this card or fill out a card, please, and turn it in the back of the room over there. If you could put your contact information so that we could have an appropriate person follow up with you, we would appreciate that. In our organizational meeting, we do have to elect our officers every year in January. To do that, we will ask for a nomination or nominations. After those nominations, then we will ask for all say I in favor. Those hands will be counted by Katie for record. We do need a majority of 4 people for that to then carry on. If we do have 4 that makes a majority vote, then we will not continue on any further and that will hold that office. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, could I please have a nomination for president?
I would like to nominate Hugh Morrissey, our current president, to be our president again for 2024. Just very briefly, I wanted to say over my 3-year tenure on the board, I've just observed Mercy to be in every situation, every time, operating with integrity, respect for others, honesty, and courage. And I think that these traits are not only important for us as a board, but they're really critical in our board leader. I really appreciate the way you always keep us focused on our mission, and you really put service of the kids and the district and the public at the top of your mind. And so with that, it is my honor to nominate you for president.
Thank you. Any other nominations? Right, thank you. Can I just simply ask then, all in favor say aye?
Aye.
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 Do that math quickly.
You can do that, ma'am. Thank you all. I look forward to continuing to lead and work with all of you. I really appreciate the last year and all the transitions we had as a district. Everybody getting involved, John stepping up and taking part in the KISB and the KISB meetings or dinners with Mr. Wheeldryer as well. So thank you to everybody for stepping into extra roles and extra meeting times, and we have a good year in front of us to look forward to, so thank you. Could I have a nomination for vice president?
It is my honor and privilege to nominate Dr. Brittany Berber Garcia for a position of vice president. In her first 3 years as a board member, she's shown growth, thoughtfulness, and grace. Her presence as vice president last year has demonstrated that she is more than capable leader. So with that, I'm extremely pleased to present for your consideration Dr. Berber Garcia.
Thank you. Any other nominations? Thank you. All in favor say aye. Aye. Right. Thank you. At this time, we have secretary. I would like to go ahead and nominate Katie again for this year, if you are willing to continue to serve.
I can do that.
We do appreciate it. We know you've had a lot going on. We appreciate your flexibility in getting in here time and time again to sign documents, to review things when you need to. That is greatly helpful for central office, and we appreciate that. Thank you. Any other nominations? Right. All in favor say aye.
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 All right. Treasurer.
I would like to nominate Jason. This last year, I really appreciated his attention to detail, and staying on top of things, especially as we brought the bond to vote and thankfully passed it.
And I would love it if we got to see those projects through for this next year, as well as like the operational day-to-day stuff that we deal with in finance.
Thank you. Any other nominations? Okay, all in favor for Jason, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. All right, at this point in time, then we will continue to move forward with our consent agenda. We have December 2023 special meeting minutes, December 2023 closed session meeting, December 11, 2023 closed session meeting, December 2023 payables, January 2024 personnel report, anticipated overnight trips for 2024. We have authorized use of the following financial institutions, being United Bank, Fifth Third Bank, Michigan Liquid Asset Fund Plus. We have legal firms that may be retained as needed, Rhodes McKee, Boyer, Goodrich and Tita, Miller Johnson, Snell and Kaminsky, Troon Law Firm, Clark Hill, Dickinson Wright. We also have authorization of the superintendent, assistant superintendent, and chief financial officer or their designees to sign checks, contracts, agreements, and purchase orders. Authorization of the chief financial officer or their designee as the district's electronic transfer officer. And then authorization of the superintendent or designee to assume specific responsibilities of the board secretary.
I move that the board approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Were there any questions, discussions, any questions about any of the meeting minutes, corrections? No? All right, could I please have roll call?
Barbara Garcia,
Yes.
Brandau,
Yes.
Isich, yes, Nichols,
Yes.
Sadoo,
Yes.
White.
Yes, motion carries. Before we go any further and I throw something off, I just want to make you aware that one of the things that is considered kind of a best practice kind of thing is that from now on, when we do motions, that everything will not be done in alphabetical order. So there will be random shuffling of the names when it comes to voting. So while that one worked out just that way, it wasn't gonna throw anybody off, but just please listen for your names coming forward because that will change as every motion goes through. Aside from the fact that whoever sits in the role as president will always vote last, so that if there has to be a tiebreaker situation, that becomes their responsibility at that moment. All right, any questions on that? No? All right. Then let's go ahead and continue forward into 6, which is reports and information. We have Board Appreciation Month recognition with Mr. Wheeldryer.
Well, it's a tough role to be a member of the school board, and we appreciate all of you folks stepping up and providing leadership and an awful lot of time commitment. And you all have lots of other things going on in your lives too, and to take the extra time to be part of this role is very much appreciated. It's an investment, obviously, in our kids, and we just want to thank you for all the work that you do. So in January, it's School Board Recognition Month, and we won't trot them out now, but in the back here we have gifts for each of you that we'll give you on your way home tonight, and we just really appreciate the opportunity to thank you and recognize your work. So, and on a personal note, now, having worked with you for 6 months, I really have enjoyed it very much, getting to know all of you. I knew a couple of you before, but it's been a wonderful time for me, and looking forward to much more opportunity to work together.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to food service as well. If we'll send a quick email to pass on a thank you. So our families will much appreciate that when they get home. So there's fabulous decorated cookies up here that are hiding behind here.
They get something out of your time.
That's right, exactly. So,
We have to share with family.
well, if it doesn't make it home, they won't know, but I'll still say thank you to food service for us, so. All right, we're gonna move on to 6B, which is a board workshop for January 31st, 2024, 6 p.m. Our goal would be is discussion of committee structure, and then also the Caledonia Community Center Partnership Agreement. So I think that everybody got an email on that. That was one of the topics that has been brought up several times to discuss what our meeting and or committee structure would look like going forward and with the hire of our full-time superintendent, Mr. Wheeldryer staying on with us, this is the perfect time to dig into that right away this month so that we can decide how we will structure going forward. Were there any concerns about that meeting time? All right, anything you'd like to add, Mr. Wheeldryer?
No, I don't think so at this time. Yeah, the partnership agreement, we just wanna make sure we go through that with you all on how the Cal Community Center will work in conjunction with the YMCA.
Perfect, thank you. All right, let's move to 6C, which is CalPlex property transfer. Mr. Wheeldryer.
All right, we previously talked about the Calplex transfer and from Caledonia Township. And at our previous meeting, was that in December or was that the November meeting? I can't even remember now, it's running together in my head. You authorized me to be able to finalize that agreement with Caledonia Township. They, in the process of doing that, our legal team, our legal folks got together on each side. They put together an agreement, and when that was brought to Caledonia Township for ratification, they asked to include in there the lawyer expenses that they've incurred to have the transfer take place. So that number was provided to me at $4,579. So I wanted to make you aware of that. You have given me the authority to execute the agreement. If there's a feeling you don't want that to happen, then I guess probably taking action tonight to tell me not to would be the next step. But I wanted to make sure you were aware that it wasn't just a $1 transfer, that they've added this other stipulation on there as well, that we would pay their legal fees. Any questions on that?
Jason?
More of commentary, I suppose, than question. One, I think at this point in time, to be done with it, whatever. But we've gone from a spot from the original agreement from the township to fully develop phase 2 on their property, so that would be zero cost to the school district for phase 2 of Calplex, to them backing out of that arrangement and saying, okay, well, we'll give you the property and let the school develop it. I think there was even some stipulations on there, develop it to the way we want it developed even, but that's neither here nor there. And then it moved to, we're not gonna give it to you, we wanna swap properties. We'll take one of the properties you already have, and then we'll swap you for this one so you can do Calplex. So take more money from the schools for that, to which we said, no, that's not a good idea either. So back to, okay, Mr. Wheeldryer and Mr. Clement from the Caledonia Youth Sports go to the meeting and they say, oh, well, we'll gift it to you, which is sell it for $1 because legal taxes, and I get it. So great, we're back to the giving. Again, we still have to foot the bill to fund it. And then that's all agreed to come back and say, yeah, you know what? We really want like $5,000 for that now. It just really, really sucks, for lack of a better word, coupled with the shenanigans they're pulling with our other property, where we have a developer who wants to develop the southern half of our Dutton property, but they're withholding approval because they want a walking path through Dutton Elementary and through the development. And so the developer has come back to say, hey, we need to amend this agreement, and we're gonna talk about it later too, and it's gonna cost the district yet another $120,000. Like, they wanna amend the agreement, remove $120,000 from the school. So we are here taking arrows, bullets, whatever you wanna call it, from the community when we do this bond. Why are you spending money on community stuff, not education? This is why. All of these things, like the township won't pony up and do the things they were supposed to do, and here we are having to foot the bill again. And it's ridiculous. But for the sake of moving forward, I don't disagree.
Thank you. Did you wanna follow up on anything specifically there?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, obviously, are there other board members that would, you are right. I mean, certainly this has been extremely frustrating. It has been a very long, drawn-out process that certainly doesn't feel like it should have been that way. Certainly, I think part of the frustration for us as a board and maybe that community understands some of, depending on, you know, what they're hearing or what they're seeing. You know, certainly when we're using one project to kind of hold you on hostage on another project and leverage one thing against another, and it really it certainly muddies the water on everything. Because they're certainly not related, and it is frustrating. So I certainly feel for our administration, who has spent so many hours working on this, you know, trying to get to this point. You know, I agree with Jason. I mean, certainly I'm not willing to, this is something we committed in Caledonia Schools, you know. I'm not gonna say this is a typical arrangement, because it's not, that we do programming from birth to 99. I mean, we provide, you know, programming for all ages as part of Caledonia Community Schools. Is that always the way it is? No, but we don't have a Parks and Rec department, nor does our township have any interest in participating in a Parks and Rec department. When you call and sign up for something, it is Caledonia Community Schools that is servicing our entire community of all ages. So I agree with you. This has been a very frustrating process when we are working hard to try to service that community. I applaud our youth sports programs for stepping up and working with the township, our administrative team, past and current, that has spent so many hours doing this. I too, though, we have, you know, this is what we are working towards, you know, for our fulfillment of the bond work, and I would like to see this go through as well.
And I mean, again, where's the partnership from the township, right?
Correct.
It was billed initially as a partnership. Well, you do phase one, we'll do phase two, and now here we are footing millions of dollars more for that. So when the community asks, well, why are you doing things that aren't education? Why are you doing things that are community based for the community? It's because the township won't. Sorry, plain and simple. The township won't do it, so we're gonna do it.
So I just think in the interest of time and moving things forward, I do think it's important for us to get this going. That will permit us to then begin what we need to do the surveying and the soil testing and all those other sorts of things that need to happen so that we can get design together and we can get moving on this, or else we'll be another whole growing season and all behind on getting these fields
Yeah.
into use, so.
Are there any other concerns or thoughts to share? All right, thank you. We appreciate it, and thank you again for the time. And so we look forward to seeing these projects move forward. Let's move on to 7 discussion items. We have 7A, which is 2024 board meeting schedule. Mr. Wheeldray?
I'm pulling that up a second. So our 2024 board meeting schedule would follow pretty much what we've done in the past, which would be to continue to have meetings on the third Monday at 6 p.m. There would be 2 exceptions to that. One would be next month. Next month, that would be during the midwinter break, the third Monday. So we are suggesting that happen on February 26th. Which would be the 4th Monday, much like this particular meeting is today. And then the only other exception to the third meeting would be in August, in the month of August, and that would move to the 2nd Monday. And the reason behind that is all of our staff would be reporting back that day. And from a hiring standpoint and all, as we get ready and into the start of the flow of school, we believe it's important to have that meeting then so that the board can take action on all those personnel related items to get our new staff on board. So that is the proposed board meeting that we put together.
Any concerns on those dates? All right, thank you. We will now move to 7B, which is Neola's second reading and adoption. Mr. Wheeldray?
These are the items that were brought to you in December, and the first reading was approved at that time. We went through them a little more thoroughly at that point, so I think we can, I'll just answer questions if there are any other questions, but this would now be the second reading and adoption on these. And just to refresh your memories, these are primarily having to do with things related to teacher evaluation, to various subjects that used to be prohibited subjects of bargaining. These things were all changed in the legislature in the last year, and so they are coming effective as of February 13th, and therefore to get the policies updated in preparation for that, that's what's behind these policies changes.
Any questions? Comments on those? I did like I do appreciate the summary that's sent out on those, so thank you that's attached that we see, so thank you. All right, we're gonna move on to 7C, budget amendments. Mr. Breeze?
So. Okay, can you hear me? No?
Well, I can hear you,
We
but I
can hear you
don't
with the
think it
microphone.
sounds right. Well,
Will that matter? Oh, there we go. Okay, so it is budget amendment time. This is looking at our first set of budget amendments for this fiscal year. And a big part of this final budget includes the final year of our ESSER grant funds. We're looking at finishing up our ESSER 3 grant as well as our ESSER 11T grant. So on the left side, you can see our total allocation for ESSER 3 was 1.6 million. You can see where we have spent that both in 21-22 as well as last fiscal year in 22-23. So this year, our January amended budget includes the final expending of $325,000 for ESSER 3. And then 11T on the right, the total allocation for that grant was 3.8 million. You can see there what we spent both in 21-22 and the 22-23 school years. Then with this January budget amendment, finishing up that grant with 2.4 million. These grants, if you recall, they include mental health support partnerships, that's specifically with the Pine Rest Student Assistance Program. Also, student support specialists and counselors, interventionists, English language learner, teachers and supports, MTSS coordinator, psych intern, and summer and after school programming. So these funds have to be expended by September of 2024. So on the ESSER 11T, and actually both, we show 0 being spent in 24-25. There may be a little bit in 11T to finish up summer school, so there might be a small amount. But at this point, we have things budgeted to finish up in this fiscal year. So with the budget amendment, some of the key revenue swings, the initial budget was adopted by the board back in June. So at that time, some of those unknowns that we didn't know included what our student count would be. We budgeted flat with no increase, and so we actually had about 10 student growth. We also increased some shared time programming, so we saw some student increase in FTE for that. We have increases in property taxes that got adjusted. We also received a combined 31 AA mental health and safety grant, as well as a few various other grants that are now included in this amended budget. And we also are receiving state aid reimbursement for transportation. That's a new categorical as well that's included in this amended budget. On the retirement side, this happens each year. So if you recall, the accrued unfunded liability that has to run through public schools books. We get billed on the expense side and have to pay the Office of Retirement. And then we also receive state aid reimbursement to offset that. So it's really an in and out in our revenue and expense side, but that also fluctuates what our budget looks like. So that's an increase of just over $1 million on both revenue and expense side. So big picture, general fund, first column, that is where we finished the 22-23 fiscal year. Revenues to expenditures, we had a surplus of 1.3 million, which ended us with a fund balance just over 10 million, which is 14.9% of our expenditures. Then that next column was what the board adopted in June, what we started this fiscal year with. We were anticipating to take 1.7 million out of fund balance, which would have left us at a 12.3% of expenditure fund balance. And with what we knew at the time. So now with this January proposed amended budget in that third column, that has narrowed down, and now we're looking to pull just over 400,000 from fund balance. And that would leave our fund balance at a 13.8% of expenditures. So on the far right shows what that change is. And there's an asterisk there on the revenue side, and in red below just highlights what some of those bigger changes were on the revenue side. It included that retirement payment, the various grants, property taxes, and the state aid transportation reimbursement. So overall, we've been able to narrow that gap and by 1.3 million. The budget, so the finance committee reviewed this in full last week and went through our bridge report. Both of those were linked for the board in the documents. We will be putting up the budget comparisons to show the budgets, and that will go on our website as well. So are there any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, appreciate it. All right, we are going to move to 7D, which is our 2014 refunding bond ratification resolution. Tongue twister.
So real quick on this one, the bond pricing was earlier in January 10. So this is asking the board to ratify the resolution for those bonds, and the closing is set for February 6th. So we're pleased to say that the pricing went well. We were able to save 12%. We refinanced $18.2 million and are seeing a savings of $2.5 million for our taxpayers. So we're really excited about that. The timing was great. So this is the ratifying resolution for the board tonight.
That is great news. Anyone else, comments, questions?
I'll just point out that this is for the 2014 bonds, and so after 10 years, those became callable. And so that's when the first opportunity that we had to refinance them. So this is on those from 2014, not our more recent ones.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, we are going to move to 7E, which is 2024 bus purchase. Mr. Kingsbury, is it Fortier?
It is.
Okay.
Good evening, and this is first reading, so it's my first time up here as far as in this capacity, so thank you very much and be patient with me. Right now, we are recommending that we purchase 3 school buses. It would be 2 77 passenger and 1 29-30 passenger special needs bus. These buses were built using the MSBO purchase program. So currently we are 100% Hoekstra Thomas buses. There were 2 other Midwest and Holland that are comparable, some slightly cheaper, but we would have to retool the whole garage in order to switch over. So it's in the district's best interest to continue on with Thomas. Right now, the cost of the 2 77 passengers will be $145,654 each. And then for the 29 and 30 passenger, it would be $97,459 each. There is a line item, of course, in the bond to purchase school buses, but we're recommending taking this out of general fund and using those funds for later purchases. I am currently investigating whether we can lock in our prices to purchase buses at the current cost, and I will update the finance committee as in the future as far as if we will be able to do so.
And what was the ordering time on these?
So these will be delivered contingent upon any delays, October of 2024.
I think that's an important point. So these will not come out of the current fiscal year, and the budget amendments that you were looking at, these would be just so we can get the order in so they will be able to be delivered in time to be utilized next year. So they will actually come out of next fiscal year's budget.
That's correct.
Jason?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. I'm appreciative that we are moving these to the general fund and from the bond. I know that was one of the concerns raised by several board members when we were bonding and included buses as a line item. So I'm just greatly appreciative that we were able to pull those into general fund. Better use of money, I think.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to move to 7F, which is schools of choice resolution. Mr. Wheeldryer.
This will be another item brought next month, so just a first reading of this. So this is the same resolution that has been utilized in the past, and if you, in taking a look at that, we will be recommending that we opt out of section 105, which is the internal Kent County School Choice plan, which would be the kind of default state plan that you would have to go by, and instead to participate in the Kent ISD Collaborative Schools of Choice program. And then the other thing that will need to be decided is the 105C, which is schools of choice for districts that are not within Kent ISD. And so currently, we are not participating in that either. Instead, if students wish to apply for Caledonia schools, admission to Caledonia schools, we would do that on a resident district release instead of the more open-ended 105C schools of choice program. Okay, so we can provide you with more information, but this would be the exact same setup that we currently have this year.
Any questions? All right, we are going to move to 7G, which is the purchase agreement amendment. Mr. Wheeldrer?
All right, so Mr. Seydoux referenced this earlier. We have been contacted by JTB Homes. They were the folks with whom we have a purchase arrangement for the southern half of the property upon which Dutton Elementary is being built. And the original or the current purchase agreement calls for a sale price of $750,000 plus for every home that they're able, for every home site within that property that they're able to do over 30, the purchase price would increase by an additional $10,000. So they are submitting a proposal for 42 home sites in that property. Therefore, it would be the $750,000 plus an additional $120,000 if that were to be approved. Mr. Seydoux alluded to it, and it's in the letter that was received here from JTB Homes that part of their ability to build those 42 homes is contingent on the extension of a sewer line to serve that southern piece of the property. However, Caledonia Township at this point is saying as a condition for extending that sewer line that they want JTB to pay for the path that we have provided a right of way across our Dutton property on the northern end of that property. So JTB would have to pay for that bike path in order to have the sewer extension. So therefore JTB is asking us to revise our purchase agreement and to strike the rider of the $10,000 for each home over 30 homes. In other words, go with a flat amount of $750,000, no matter whatever gets approved, so that they would be able to pay for that path as is being required by the township. This sale is not complete until JTB, they have a period here where they're able to analyze the economics of it and decide whether or not this makes sense for them. And so I wanted to bring it to your attention this month. I think we can have some discussion about it, and then based on that, we can I can either go back to JTB with sort of a counter proposal, or you can direct what way you want to go after that, but we wanted to bring it to your attention here at tonight's meeting, and then we can, if it's requested, we can bring back action at the February meeting.
Do we have any clarification on whether, so the township, asked for this easement through our property. So we give them an easement through our property to put a trail in. Then they require it of this builder to get what they need. So they do that. At that point in time, no,
They had first asked us to pay for it.
correct, right,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, I mean, we're figuring out, which we're still paying for if we have a reduction in the cost of the property. Regardless, we're paying for it one way or another.
And I wanted to, sorry to interrupt,
No, you're
but
fine.
the $120,000 will not pay for it completely.
Right.
This is an expense that
Right,
only partially covering what JTB is having to pay for.
correct. But I mean, still expense then coming back to us in the form of, you know, us having a reduction in what that property is worth to them, so I get that. But I guess my question is by the time you get to the other side of that, now we've now reached again private property. So are we putting in, I mean, are they trying to put in trails? Where do they connect to? Do they just dump out in the middle of Patterson? Is there any, I mean, do you understand what I'm asking? Because I don't, do we have this information? I mean, what is the point of
It's
this?
a trail to nowhere.
Well, I mean, it does feel a bit like a trail to nowhere. Sure, please, if you have info for us.
The township's master trail plan has a trail connecting across 76th Street and down Craft, and also connecting down Patterson to the existing Paul Henry Thornapple Trail.
So when it gets to the other side of this property that we currently own now, are they then buying easements or something from the people there, or does it then cross Patterson?
At the moment, they have nothing in place, but that is the future township's trail plan. Much like the trail that they just put in on Whitneyville Road along where Kettle Lake is and running up and across to the lake, it is, like Jason said, kind of a trail to nowhere at the moment, but in the master plan for years ahead, they do have a connection at 76th Street going across.
Who do they get to pay for that one?
Good question.
I struggle with them past being by our schools, right? That's a security risk.
Yes, it
And
is a question.
I see that over on Whitneyville and drives me nuts every time I drive by there. I think we need to really watch that. I don't know if we can tell the township to pound sand or what, but I really think we need to be watching these.
I would absolutely agree, and I know that there's been discussion and people will talk about, well, you have trails by the other buildings. Well, the trails that we talk about, if you wanna call them trails, or the connecting sidewalks that go between Craft, the high school, and Emmons, those have nothing to do with the township or the Kent County Trail System. Those are for the use of us, for Caledonia Community Schools. Now, I realize anytime you put in anything, certainly, you know, you invite the fact that people can come from other places. I get all of that, but I do appreciate that, and I also share that concern that the safety of all of our buildings should be taken into account when putting these through, or allowing any kind of easement for that. So I'm not sure what the right answer to any of this is, but I certainly think that there's again, this is one of these projects, this is what we were talking about. We're using this project and we're, you know, kind of, you know, holding something hostage to do something else, and, you know, I mean, we're seeing this compile with our projects. So what you're telling us with this right now is this is just a hold until you're making us aware this isn't a.
Yeah, I'm making you aware, I'm not ready to make a recommendation at this point, although I do know JTB would like an answer fairly quickly, but they've got a few more months yet to consider, so I think it behooves us to take the time to consider it and think it through rather than asking for a quick response tonight, so. I do wanna just speak, Mr. Brand, and I was not here at the time that the Dutton Trail thing was being talked about, but maybe Mr. Hess, you can refresh. It was my understanding that that was a condition of the site plan approval for Dutton Elementary, was that we provide the right of way for a trail across our property in order to get the site approval, period. But that we pushed that to the perimeter of the property as best we could. But I share your concern. Anytime we do have general public crossing, especially in these days, that presents more of a concern. And it's something that as we do site planning and as we look at security needs down the road, it may cause us to do other additional remediation, like additional fences and things like this.
I do believe last year that when we were talking about wetland mitigation, that they were saying, oh, that's gonna be too expensive, just put it right next to Dutton. And that's what they wanted initially, that we said was a no-go, but I'm with you, if it was up to me, there wouldn't be any public path on that property, period. So.
I think the other concern too is with the township trails, it's not as if they maintain them well. They're not maintained well, they're not maintained in the winter, you know, and then at what point in time does that become our liability? Or what, you know, is that part of that discussion, especially in the winter months? So I think there certainly is plenty of discussion to have, but I guess if you're gonna kind of wait and hold on this to see.
Yeah, and I think we can have further discussion at committee next month, and then we can develop whatever direction you wanna go at the next meeting.
Okay, perfect.
So they want a path across our property and whatever we sell to the developer, and then it goes nowhere beyond there for an untold number of years until they can acquire some sort of rights to the properties to the north and the south. So, I mean, that could be like 15 years and they're gonna have to redo that section again, or, I mean, it's frustrating and it's driving me nuts, the hold that the township wants to have on all of these projects, and just frankly, just delaying any sort of progress in the community, and it's ridiculous.
Jennifer, did you have?
Just out of curiosity, right now JTB has how long to do their due diligence? What's the timeframe we're working with?
Yeah, I think it's August. On top of my head, I can look it up here, but.
So, I mean, looking at it, I totally share Jason's frustration with kind of things being held up and a lot of things being undecided. I think JTB probably shares that frustration as well, because their proposal is not just $120,000 off of the purchase price, but $10,000 per property that they're not able to get approved. So it's like we don't even know how much of a discount we're actually offering. So I think that we should have more discussion on what a fair purchase price is, but also remembering that if JTB backs out, we maintain the asset, so we don't lose, they do. If they wanna develop that property, maybe we can come up with a flat rate that makes sense for us, that we can agree to closing by a certain date, cause it would be great just to have that money. But I don't think a sliding scale of letting the township still decide what discount we're gonna give them is appropriate, but maybe we could come up with a flat rate that made sense for us.
Yeah, I agree with you, that's something that the land doesn't go away if we don't execute the sale with them at this time. It's something that will continue to be an asset for the district that could be utilized or sold in the future. So August 30th of 2024 is the
Thank you.
time.
And if I remember in conversation, we had already, or they had already extended that period of time a couple of times, right? So
Yeah,
for
it
this,
had first been till December of 23 because they were going back and forth with the township on some of these things, and they weren't gonna be able to get to a resolution by December. So we agreed to extend to August, but I felt like this particular request by them really needed to be coming to you because it's that big of a financial change.
The other thing that is problematic though is even if we do that, right, like we change that, anyone else, any other, yes, the property is ours until we decide to do something else with it, but if the thing that makes the most sense there is homes, and anybody else who's gonna wanna come in and purchase that property is going to want to put homes there, and they're gonna need the sewer line. So it, like, I agree, we need to have more discussion, cause that problem doesn't get solved, you know, so we do need to figure out and just have more discussion, I agree, cause we're stuck in the same place, essentially.
Right, even if we hold, we're stuck, so. Anything additional on that? All right, thank you, we'll look for more to come on all of that. At this point in time, we're gonna move to 8, which is our board and superintendent reports. 8A is teaching and learning committee. Thank you, I hope you get some sleep tonight. I know, you'll both be up early, thank you.
Just call it now. Sleep in. Do that. I like you're thinking. That's all right, hold on. There we go. Get it? Yeah. Sorry for the delay. The Teaching and Learning Committee met on January 11 and our meeting was called to order at 7:40 a.m. Dr. Diaz began the meeting discussing what was at the time the upcoming professional development for staff on January 15. Staff continued to work with Dr. Marcia Jones from Solution Tree on our professional learning community's work, focusing on identifying essential standards, building common formative assessments to guide instruction, and looking at what's next when summative assessments show student mastery at various levels. In addition, Kent ISD staff was providing a session on artificial intelligence for our Duncan Lake Middle School and Caledonia High School staff. Ongoing school-based sessions were also held around capturing kids' hearts and continued to focus on building strong relationships with and among students as well as staff. Our special education staff also was together all day focusing on high leverage practices, specifically ensuring least restrictive environments for our students. Finally, staff had the opportunity to work with their PLC teams, either subject or grade level specific, to continue refining their craft. The district has received a sizable state grant through 23G, which will be utilized to support intervention programming across grades 5 through 12. Annual education reports are also currently being developed, both from the district and school level lenses. This is a state requirement, and reports will be available for our community via the website by February 8. At mid-year, all students K through 8 participate in benchmark assessments to take a picture of their current learning up to this point. And over the past couple of weeks, school teams have been reviewing their data to determine what, if any, changes may need to be made to support continued high levels of learning for all. Ms. Jubison shared that our new Assistant Director of Special Programs, Ms. Amy Stutters, began with us for a few days in December and is now full-time, is getting acclimated quickly to our programs and schools, and is contributing nicely. Ms. DeVries discussed at the upcoming upcoming meeting that we were going to be reviewing the budget amendments, which is resulting in a reduction of the negative impact on our fund balance. We also discussed the second quarter investment update, as well as information that you heard tonight on bond refinancing. And we were very excited to learn about the refinancing that's bringing in a net savings to taxpayers of over $2.5 million. Mr. Wheeldryer and Mr. Hess discussed that the Filter First legislation has been enacted, which mandates all water will be tested and filtered in all of our schools. Implementation being complete by the 2026-2027 school year. The need for new school buses was discussed, as you heard, as well as review of our long-term rental policy. Finally, Mr. Wheeldryer updated the committee on Office of Retirement Services changes and the potential impact on our staff. Our meeting adjourned at 8:25.
Thank you. Are there any questions for that committee? No? All right, thank you. We will move to 8B, which is Finance and Operations Committee.
Thank you. The Finance and Operations Committee met on a very snowy January 16th. Our meeting didn't get started until 7:45 a.m. because the roads were fun. We started with Ms. DeVries sharing a recommended January budget amendments that we saw here. She also reviewed the second quarter budget to actual and investment reports and provided an update on the savings from the 2014 bond refunding. Mr. Wheeldryer addressed new legislation focusing on drinking water filtration. Ms. Fortier presented a recommendation for purchasing buses to enhance the district fleet. Older buses will be retired from the fleet. The Operations Department is planning on a tour for the Board of Education members who would like to view current and upcoming bond projects prior to the February meeting. More information will be provided. Mr. Kingsbury shared information about a recent Michigan Supreme Court decision that has the potential to adversely affect some staff members' future retirement calculations. The Kent County Common Calendar Agreement sets the parameters on our school calendar. Administrators and staff are working on the 24-25 calendar right now. Dr. Diaz provided a Teaching and Learning Committee update. Mr. Wheeldryer then reviewed a requested purchase amendment from JTB Homes, which you heard about here. And finally, Mr. Wheeldryer discussed a proposal for sports field maintenance from the Caledonia Youth Sports Association. And that's it.
Any questions for that committee? All right, thank you to all of you, and thank you for braving the roads on that day anyway. At this point, we will move to 8C, which is board trustee reports. Are there any individual, Jason?
Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge that, we have a lot of wonderful folks in this district and somehow related to the schools. I was able to go to the choir concert last Friday, which was a combination between the Grand Rapids Chamber Choir and members of our own choir and the orchestra. So not only was it a fantastic concert, but Mark Ramsey, who is the choir accompanist, the piano player, he wrote and composed a song and debuted it to the world with our choir singing in the background in the chamber choir, and it was quite fantastic. There were a few students in the audience that were sitting around me that had tears of joy just watching the pure joy on Mr. Ramsey's face as he was playing his own song and hearing our students sing it. And it was a wonderful moment, and we have so many wonderful people in our community to be thankful for. So I just wanted to share that because it was awesome.
Thank you. Are they posting those?
I don't know, I mean, they had all sorts of like recording equipment and cameras and stuff set up and they blocked off, so I thought they were gonna, but I haven't seen anything for sure.
I didn't know, if they do post it, just let us know, so, thank you. Any other board reports? All right, I will be sending at some point in time here in the near future, adopt a road dates. It's a little cold to be thinking about that, I realize, but just to get them kind of on your
Might
calendar.
go quickly, you won't find
Yeah,
it.
I mean, we won't be out there for quite a while, but just so that you know, April will roll around pretty quickly, April, May, so, and then again, you will not, get any kind of committee assignments or anything until after we have our meeting next week and kind of decide what we're gonna do from there, so, if there's any questions or whatever, please feel free to reach out to me in the next week, and then any information you need for that meeting, we'll make sure and get to you. At this time, before we move to our superintendent report, I just wanted to put out a quick reminder, if you're here for a public comment, to please have the card filled out and turned in. All right, Mr. Wheelwright.
All right, just a few things for you today. First of all, just letting you know that there's an open house going on right now at the ECC. There's 10 more minutes to get over there, but we're looking forward to welcoming a whole bunch of new Scots into the district through that. We've had some spelling bees, and just to let you know, 52 kids participated in the craft spelling bee at Craft Meadows back on January 11th. And winners were Malik Al-Hadidi and Harrison Krebel. And they'll move on to the regional spelling bee to represent Craft Meadows. And then at Duncan Lake, they had theirs on Friday. Their spelling bee apparently went a record 44 rounds to get to a winner. And the winner is Zach Zupin, and the runner-up was Shri Kumar, and they will represent Duncan Lake at the regionals. On February 1st, Paris Ridge will have a virtual family math night, which should be fun. And then two other just quick notes. The State Honors Choir will be having 16 members of Caledonia choirs will be at the State Honors Choir this weekend. And they will be also participating and vying for all state honors down there. And on February 13th, we had a reschedule from our Blue Ribbon School recognition night at the basketball game for the Cal-El Blue Ribbon School recognition. So that has been rescheduled for February 13th.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, at this time, we will move to 9, which is public comment. Melissa?
Mr. Assistant.
Melissa and support staff, is that what we're doing here?
There we
Okay.
go, yeah.
Gotcha.
The Caledonia Education Association is excited to welcome Superintendent Wheeldryer. Our union looks forward to collaborating for an optimal education experience. We're eager to engage with Superintendent Wheeldryer in an open dialogue to address members' needs and enhance the students' academic journey. You bring valuable experience to our district and a commitment to supporting students, families, and educators, and the union is very excited to have you with us, so thank you. During School Board Appreciation Month, the union wants to express gratitude for all of your dedicated service. Your visionary leadership, adaptability in challenging times, and commitment to student success have made a lasting impression on our community. Thank you for your tireless efforts, collaborative approach, and transparent communication. Your contributions shape the future of our students and enrich our community. And on behalf of the CEA, we have some decals for you to proudly display as you see.
Thank you. There you go. Sorry.
Thank you, and thank you for all you do. We are going to move at this time to 10, which is our action items. 10A is 2024 board meeting schedule.
I move that the board adopt the 2024 regular meeting schedule as proposed.
I have a second.
Second.
Thank you, John. Any other questions on that? All right, can I have roll call?
Brandow,
Yes.
Isich, yes, Nichols,
Yes.
Sadoo,
Yes.
Barbara Garcia,
Yes.
White.
Yes, motion carried.
I didn't mess this up. Did you already explain it and I like
Yes.
Yes, I explained it, but that doesn't mean it feels usual over here.
She looked at me weird, I was like, it's written this way, I just wanted to confirm for everyone, I didn't make a mistake.
Yes, no, that was a please and thank you for getting through that.
I'm sorry, you have me to blame for this, but
It's good, it's good.
Now I gotta pay attention. I don't just go after nickels.
Alright, exactly. 10B is Neola policy updates.
I move that the board conduct the second reading and adopt immediately the following board bylaws and policies: 0122, 1420, 3120, 3130, 3131, 3139, 3140, 3142, 3220.
Second.
Any further questions? Alright, everybody ready? Okay.
Barbara Garcia,
Yes.
Sadoo,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
Isich, yes, Nichols,
Yes.
White.
Yes, motion carries. And to 10C, budget amendment resolution.
So uncomfortable right now. I move that the board approve the January 2024 budget amendment resolution.
Second.
Any further questions? Alright, have at it.
Nichols,
Yes.
Barbara Garcia,
Yeah.
Sadoo,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
Isich, yes, White.
Yes, motion carries, thank you. On to 10D is 2014 refunding bond ratification resolution.
I move that the board approve the resolution ratifying the sale of the Caledonia Community Schools 2014 refunding bonds.
Second.
Any further questions? Alright, can we have roll call please?
Isich, yes, Randall,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Barbara Garcia,
Yes.
Sadoo,
Yes.
White.
Yes, motion carries. Alright, did I forget anything?
No.
No, alright, I just need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. Safe travels home. Be careful, there's ice coming, I guess.
It's a little bit like putting my pants on with the other leg first instead of